I ended off with Deku stepping in to stop the everyone from panicking and all that. So yeah, let's continue on with this. After everyone's done eating lunch, they go back to class, and same thing, everything goes as canon there. Zawa comes in and announces that they are going to the USJ. Anyway, so as you can guess, everyone starts getting ready, gets their real costume, and I already showed you this, and I already showed you Izuku's hero costume with it. But if you forgot, which you most likely didn't, this is his hero costume. Anyway, continuing on, everyone's on the bus, and they start asking questions. And I still don't know whether to give Izuku Midoriya one fall. You know what? Just comment down if you want Izuku to get one fall. Continuing forward, Floppy starts asking questions about Izuku's quirk. Well, like everyone wants to know what his quirk really is. Floppy says that his quirk is kind of like All Might's, and Izuku in this case doesn't panic because I don't know whether to give him one fall or not. So yeah, Izuku doesn't panic, and yeah, he says the same thing that All Might doesn't get hurt using his quirk, and he does. So yeah. So continuing forward, they get to the USJ and enter. So let's go out and everything, and Handyman comes out. Handyman. Yeah. Anyway, Shigaraki comes out and introduces themselves and say we are here to kill All Might, and same thing. The heroes get teleported away from each other. So Deku still lands in the water, and Floppy still ends up rescuing him. And getting out of the boat, Izuku comes up with the same idea, just this case he goes 10% since 10% is enough to generate shockwaves. The lightning starts crackling around him, and he jumps away and ends up throwing a 10% smash towards the water, creating the same vortex that happened. And they end up getting to land and still see Mr. Aizawa getting his shit whacked into the fucking ground. But that's my man got disrespected that day. Oh my god. Anyway, Izuku Izuku just suddenly moves on his own and punches the normal at 10%. Which, the normal just went back a little, that's all. And Shigaraki, does the same thing, tries to disintegrate Floppy's face, but Izuku ends up jumping in and rescuing her, too. Oh my god. Anyway, Izuku's, the fuck is happening outside? Never mind, never mind. And, he's still, but cannot, Izuku does not jump in, to save Aizawa. Instead, the normal, Shigaraki sees the normal, and yeah, wow. Shigaraki sees Izuku and Momo and Mineta, and Shigaraki tries to go in and disintegrate her face, but Izuku ends up jumping in and throwing a 10% smash, which kind of. And Nomu still jumps in, taking that shit like a man. Wow, I can't believe my mental 100% low. And Nomu was sent back by a little. That's all that happened. Nothing really. So yeah, after that was done, the same thing still happened. He jumps away. All Might comes in. And ends up telling Izuku Midoriya to take Aizawa with him and everything like that. Keep in mind, All Might still knocked all the villains out, but let's say this Nomu was a bit stronger than Nomu in canon. So yeah, All Might tries to engage in combat, but ends up getting mollywopped. Izuku Midoriya sees this and jumps in to help his mentor. and he ends up going to 25% and throwing a punch at Inoue. Wow. Although it did it affected due to Inoue having Shakujoshi, it didn't do very much. So yeah, Izuku though ends up getting smacked away like a fly. So yeah, Izuku All Might sees this and gets enraged and engages in combat. And engages in combat. Izuku comes back, although be it very, very, very slow due to him being injured by the Nomu. So yeah. So yeah. The All Might and Izuku and All Might tag team together to beat the Nomu's ass, which in the end it does work. I suck at fight scenes. Anyway, and All Might ends up doing the finishing blow and blowing the Nomu and knocking the Nomu, out of the USJ. So, yeah. And Shigaraki and Kugure tells Shigaraki that they should probably leave, and Shigaraki said yes. Albeit reluctantly, he ended up saying yes, and they left. So, yeah. So the heroes end up ended up coming in, but was a little bit too late. So the paramedics take Mr. Aizawa and Izuku away due to Izuku being injured, and yeah, what is going to be not important. Anyway, two after the 2 weeks, everyone comes back, and Aizawa comes in and, starts out by saying, your battle isn't over yet. Everyone starts getting worried that it's villains again, but Aizawa ends up saying that the sports festival is coming up. So, yeah. Yeah. Again, sorry for the weird cut. Anyway, my phone randomly does that. Anyway, god damn, am I really gonna do this shit again? Anyway, oh fuck, you go again. So they they went to exit door, but they still see this massive fucking crowd in front of their classroom. Bakugo says the same thing, saying that they're scouting the competition. Tetu comes in with his bullshit and still says the same dumb shit he said. No hate to Tetu though. So yeah. They go out and they eat, and Monoma still does the same bullshit he does. If you like that, if you like Monoma, you're weird, but just do you, bro? Do you? Do you? Do you? And still says the same amount of shit he said to class 1A, and Itsuka does stop him. So yeah. Oh yeah. And a week later, everyone is done preparing. I think it was a week that they had to prepare. Don't know. Everyone's done doing the same things, and if you think Izuku has, has moves, I actually have given him a move. Let's say Izuku can actually manipulate the lightning around him. So, yeah, one move that he named that I actually came up with is electrical output, where he throws a punch and electricity comes out of his hand and shoots forward and damages the target that he's threw the punch at. So yeah, and a bit more, but I'm just gonna use that for later. So yeah. So yeah, yeah. They're in the locker room, and Todoroki still comes up to Izuku and still declares war on him. Bakugo comes in and says and also declares war on Izuku. So yeah, and says that he declared war on the wrong person. So yeah, so yeah, after that whole fiasco, they go out. President Mike starts introducing the class, and Izuku, as he came first. President Mike calls it, midnight, calls him forward, and Izuku, you come up with you come up with a speech of your own. Yeah, you want Izuku to give. So yeah, since I have nothing, so yeah, let's just say he told everyone to do their best. So yeah, so midnight still, everyone, midnight still spins the circle and sees, and it lands on obstacle race. I think, yeah, obstacle race, wasn't it? And it still lands on obstacle race. So yeah, interesting. That was a very interesting episode there. And still lands on cavalry race, and everyone starts getting into their positions. So yeah, lightning starts crackling around Izuku. And when Midnight says go, Izuku's the first one out of the crowd, and so it was a bit too late to freeze him. So Izuku was at the front. So yeah, Izuku was at the front and running and keeping ahead of everyone. But he starts hearing explosions behind him and sees and Bakugo, and he sees Bakugo next to him and Todoroki using a gliding on ice, more like sliding on ice. So yeah, Izuku starts increasing the percentages, so yeah, I'm gonna say he can use up to 30% now, and Izuku starts gaining the upper hand on both of them. Baku starts increasing, Baku starts making bigger explosions to, gain more speed, and yeah, Todoroki's, not doing anything. I don't even know how Todoroki can use this, but if you do, just, yeah. So yeah, Todoroki starts falling behind. Baku and Izuku are still neck and neck until the cavern comes in. And the cavern comes in, and Bakugo just shoots over. That explosion that he used against when he got kidnapped, and yeah, that massive explosion he used and grabbed onto Kirishima's hand. Yeah, just imagine him doing that same explosion, just getting shot forward like a rocket. Izuku, on the other hand, is jumping from you know, pillow to pillow to pillow to pillow. Oh, yeah. Bakugo is running forward and comes across the minefield, and he soon discovers why it's called minefield when he accidentally lets off when he tries to use explosions, and he gets caught in a chain reaction. It was not a good time for him. So yeah, and he stops using explosions and starts to cross the minefield normally. And Izuku comes and he reaches the minefield, and he saw the massive explosion and he is very cautious now. But he sees Bakugo ahead of him, and so he starts. How can I say this? Let's say he uses the air pressure to let the mines go off, and then he is crossing, and then he starts crossing, and yeah, he eventually, and Bakugo sees this behind him, and he starts using his explosions. So yeah. However, they start getting in neck to neck, and let's say by an inch, by Izuku won by a inch. So yeah, now these two are waiting on the rest of the people to come. So yeah, till you can guess, Todoroki came first, and yeah, if everyone got the same places as in canon. And Izuku Midoriya still got the 10 million points. So yeah, wait, was it 10 million or 100 million? I'm just gonna go with 10 million. So yeah, so yeah, should I end it here or no, not? You know what? I'm not gonna leave it off like that. So yeah, no, everyone looks at Izuku and starts releasing bloodlust. However, Izuku is kind of worried, but not really. And he still makes the same team as in canon. However, in this case, they get to keep the 10 million points. But Izuku just, Izuku used those flicks against Todoroki. Yeah, he just uses the flicks against everyone to keep them away. So yeah, until a couple of seconds are left, and he uses reciprocal burst, and he still gets the 10 million points. You know, everyone on Izuku's team starts panicking, and Bakugo starts going after them. Todoroki still switches the headbands as in canon, and Izuku starts getting worried. But they still come up with the same idea as in canon, and they end up getting the same points. So yeah, after that, the 1v1 matches come up, and it's Izuku versus Shinzo. Ojiro did still want Izuku not to answer his questions, and yeah, the same people and the same amount of people still dropped out of the match. So yeah, Shinzo starts talking, shit about Ojiro of him dropping out and everything, and Izuku ends up shouting at him, and he gets caught in mind control. As Izuku starts walking close to the edge, he feels a jolt of shock going through his body, and he gains control over his body. If you're asking how he got the jolt, just don't ask questions. Plot, let's say plot. The strongest thing there is in anime. So yeah. So yeah. So yeah, it's Izuku versus Todoroki. Todoroki still confronts Deku, asking if he's All Might's secret love child, which was weird as hell. So yeah. And Deku still says no, and yeah. Here comes the match, and Todoroki and Endeavor still confronts Deku about it, and Deku gives the same reply as in canon. So yeah. So yeah. After a couple of minutes, they Izuku and Todoroki are called forward. Are called out as they come out and onto the arena. They slow each other down, and Midnight says go, and Izuku and Todoroki starts off with a massive ice glacier, and Izuku just ends up going 10% and flicking it, and so it broke. So yeah. Todoroki, this keeps on going on until Todoroki's eyes starts getting slower, and Izuku sees this. Lightning starts cracking around him, and he engages, and he starts running towards Todoroki. Oh, my foot is flat. Oh wow! And he starts running towards Todoroki. Todoroki sees this and ends up firing a massive ice glacier. But Izuku just ends up focusing his lightning on his arm, and ends up using electrical impact, which ends up breaking the ice. So yeah, as you can see, Izuku's arm is hurt but not broken. Wow, but not broken. Lucky him. So Izuku punches Todoroki, and he does not fly out. And Izuku says the same thing he did in canon, and Todoroki lights up in fire. Izuku starts smiling, and he goes up to 20, and he goes up to, that's, yeah, wait, I think it's like it will land 30%, I don't know. Let's just say, yeah, Izuku is able to, after those 2 weeks, Izuku is able to use 35% of one file, and so since Todoroki is going all out, he decided to go all out as well, going into 35%. And his lightning starts to become more, let's say, violent. When I mean violent, just imagine it going all over the place. So yeah. So yeah. And Izuku and Todoroki starts firing fire blasts at Izuku, but Izuku counters this with the air pressure by punching. And so this all goes on until Todoroki says, "Let's finish this." And the same thing happens as in canon with Todoroki firing off a massive blast. Izuku jumps over Ice Glacier, and Izuku jumps over it and focuses all of his electricity into his arm, which is kind of dangerous. And he into his arm, and Izuku and Todoroki clash, blast, and so Todoroki is knocked out of bounds by Izuku by the sheer amount of force and wind pressure that was thrown at him. So yeah. So yeah. So yeah. And next is Bakugo versus Izuku. Izuku and Bakugo. Since I suck at fight scenes, I'm gonna try this. So yeah. Izuku and Bakugo start attacking each other, with Bakugo using his explosions at a massive degree, trying to blow Izuku out of bounds, but it always ends up failing. Bakugo has enough of this and starts charging with his Hauser impact. And since I forgot to tell you this, but I kind of gave Izuku a super move. So yeah. Oh fuck! I didn't realize I was recording yet. Anyway, what am I gonna call this? You know what? I'm not gonna give it a name yet. But this is where Izuku charges all, and I mean everything. You know what? Let's call this Final Stand. Basically a knockoff version of Final Flash. So Izuku charges everything into one final shot. Bakugo is, finished charging up his Hauser impact and is going to explode Izuku, but Izuku throws the punch, and these two clashed. Why did that? Why? And these two ended up clashing together. So yeah, resulting in a massive shockwave, almost almost blowing Mineta out of the fucking area. Fucking anyway, but luckily Shoji caught him. So yeah, and both are knocked out of the arena. So yeah, it is a tie, and as you can see, Izuku and Bakugo are both standing on the first place podium. So yeah. Anyway, I am going to end this off here, but hey, don't forget to subscribe and leave a like to see more daily content in the future. Until next time.